Does this guy even really need an intro?
Not really. I mean, we can do super serious like Zack Snyder tried to be, or we can go full campy like, look, up in the sky! It's a bird! It's a plane! No, it's some guy wearing red and blue tights. What a weirdo.
The same could be said for Spider-Man.
It could be, yeah. It could be. Alright, welcome everyone to the final podcast for Superhero Summer, and it is the original Superman 1979, I believe. So this is its 40th year, same year as Alien.
78.
78. Oh, okay, so I overshot it. Undershot it, I guess. I undershot it. So 41 years. And honestly, this is actually one of the earliest superhero movies that actually tried to treat superheroes in a serious light.
Yeah.
And so we kind of owe a lot of our movies to this one, because without Superman, there's no Batman and all his interpretations, no Spider-Man, no X-Men, and no Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah. I mean, this basically helped establish the superhero genre in film.
Mm-hmm.
Now, granted, there have been interpretations of Superman and other superheroes in the past in live-action media.
Those were kind of more like TV serials, like a short series of episodes. Not Siri.
Oh,
That's Siri. Gonna have to teach Siri the difference between her name and that other word that I said I don't want her to activate again.
Siri's tired too.
Yes, she is.
Let's lean on the fourth wall a little bit.
Yeah.
It's late as we're recording this.
And
so don't expect an eloquent speech from either of us, especially me.
Yeah, we've all kind of had a busy day-to-day, but we're soldiering on to do this because we have massive OCD problems.
We do.
Alright, so I guess starting the clock as soon as I set it up. And starting... Yes, the iconic theme composed by the one and only John Williams. Okay, honestly, I never saw this movie as a kid. I actually watched it later on, like post Man of Steel. And honestly, I kind of like this one better than Man of Steel.
Mm-hmm.
And mostly because, well, it's mostly because it feels like what Superman is. I mean, my only exposure to Superman was the Super Friends cartoon show that used to play on Cartoon Network, and the animated series that played for a little bit. And so this actually felt like what Superman should be.
Yeah, I mean, we've had a couple iterations since this one, but I don't think anyone's been able to top it as far as the character and what it's.
No. Yeah. Granted, Zack Snyder tried.
Yeah,
but
he tried-ish. Right. What do you think Zack Snyder did? He missed what Superman is and what he represents.
But I kind of liked what he was trying to do with Man of Steel, because I thought Superman had a lot of good issues. Just the character itself, like the whole, like with the whole nature versus nurture, like also the fact that he is okay. He's an alien. So you could probably bring up immigration a little bit, but I think maybe more for like an origin story, this could bring up the whole like, adoption thing. You know how, kids who are in foster care who kind of who are kind of wondering like if the parents who really took them in really do love them, or if they just see them as like a charity case.
Yeah.
So I would kind of like to have seen Superman in kind of more of a serious role, but I think what Zack Snyder did was make it too serious. But I saw a lot of good things, what I wanted in this movie. I saw, like, especially after Jonathan Kent died of a heart attack, not a tornado.
Yeah.
A heart attack. That stuff's unpredictable, and you have young Clark Kent standing over his grave says this line that he has all these powers and he still couldn't save them. Man, I love that.
Yeah.
How about you? I think Ian, I should probably let you talk before I start monologuing for 10 minutes. How about your experience with Superman?
Well, I did see Man of Steel a couple years ago. I enjoyed it, kind of. It's been quite a while since I've even watched that movie. As far as this film goes, I saw this quite a couple years back. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed like these late 70s movies. They just have a timeless feel to them. Like Back to the Future, I love it. Alien, I love it.
Back to the Future was 80s, but even Jaws has a timeless feel. Even Jaws has a timeless feel. I was recently rewatched that, and even aside from a few things, everything from the costumes to the hair, it just feels timeless.
It does, yes. And as far as the Superman movie goes, it feels timeless. I kinda grew up with Superman. I mean, my little brother had a brief superhero phase that all little boys go through, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
And we got him an animated movie of Superman versus Brainiac, which
that was in the same style. That's in the same style as of course, in the DCAU, DC Comics first TV shared universe series. Yeah, that's apparently not canon with the Superman series and Batman, like everything else, but yeah, that one? Yeah, I haven't seen it, but wow.
Yeah, I think we have it in the basement somewhere, but yeah, I saw that in my early teens as he was growing up, and I enjoyed that. But I mean, as far as this movie goes, I saw this a couple years ago, and I watched it maybe once in between. But going back on it, I really I see why people keep coming back to this movie.
Yeah. And I kind of also see the whole reason for kind of why there was a lot of criticism for Batman v Superman, in that Batman and Superman are pretty much on polar opposites of how they handle like criminals or hand out justice in their cities. Batman is kind of dark and brooding, and he represents vengeance. Superman represents hope. Superman represents that bright light that bursts through the dark clouds. That things will get better.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I can't hold this back anymore. My favorite part is when he's flying around after the helicopter scene, helping everybody out. That is my favorite part in this entire freaking movie.
And it's built up pretty well. You kind of see Clark Kent, being all clumsy and all shy and nerdy. Okay, I tried to avoid that word.
John,
but yeah,
he's the term intellectual badass.
Okay, Clark Kent, that persona is an intellectual badass.
Well, he's not nerdy. He's a nice guy. Let's be honest. He's a very nice person. He tries his best to help out.
Mm-hmm. And I don't mean nerdy in a derogatory term. It's just more just as a descriptive term.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's just one of those guys that you're like, oh, he's trying. He tries to help.
Yeah.
His heart's in the right place. He's like one of those guys that, say you've been at the company for a little while, you kind of take pity on him for his clumsiness, but you know his heart's in the right place. And you think you can be good friends with the guy.
Yeah. And then before we even see Superman, we hear that iconic theme. Yeah. And it just so it's telling us that yes, he's coming. And then when the horns come in with the bum ba bum ba 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 bum, and he's there in all of his primary color glory.
Although I love that classic scene of him changing in the phone booth. They basically took that and just said, "No, we're not doing that." Because he ran up to a phone booth, but it was one of those crappy little ones that just a payphone. That's all it was. It wasn't a booth.
Yeah, isn't there a scene where he actually goes through a revolving door?
Yeah, that's when he changes.
That's the one.
And then, of course, there's that African American man going, "Woo!" Little kind of racist, but not in a bad way. It's like that.
It's the 70s.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, I like that guy.
I think my favorite scene is, even though this was trying to portray Superman in kind of a serious fashion, it still has a little bit of the campy fun, and especially when it comes to Lex Luthor, played by Gene Hackman. As I like the interaction with his bumbling henchman, Otis.
Yeah.
And how he's actually describing his evil plan to Superman, and then he has all these cities or county lines, that either have some form of Luthor or Lex in them, and then comes to Otisburg.
Otisburg!
I love that so much. It's like, wait, what? How did I allow that? What did you drug me with? Otisburg? What kind of a stupid name is that?
Is it any dumber than Lutherville?
I don't know. I guess Otisburg actually sounds like something that would be in Nebraska.
Yeah, and this is coming from a guy who lives in a state where we have a town called Intercourse. And next to Intercourse, there's like a few miles away from Intercourse, there's a town called Climax.
Your state is now officially the Thailand of the United States.
It's not just my state. There's quite a few intercourses throughout America. I broke John. I did it. I'm taking over American a Picture. One joke at a time.
I'm sorry. Just you saying there's quite a few intercourses in the country. Oh, there is more than a few. Oh my.
Jeez. But yeah, Otisburg, while a campy name, I just look at that like, okay, that's just a poorly named, not badly named. I can name quite a few O's.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that don't have to deal with intercourse. Man, I haven't laughed that hard since when we had that that discussion about what's his name, Ken Ham.
Yeah, I gotta work on that. I'm glad you enjoyed that one, John. I may be freaking tired, but at least I still have my sense of humor.
Yes.
But back on the Superman.
Back on the Superman. I think that's the thing that we like about Superman is that there's still a little bit of fun.
Oh, when he's flying around helping everybody out, he's cracking jokes at all the bad guys and the thieves.
Mm-hmm.
Like, something wrong with the elevator? Bad vibrations?
Yeah. Yeah. And okay, so for all the praise that we get, like, I like how we spend some time on Krypton. Like when I first saw, Krypton exploding, and I'm seeing all the people like falling in there, I just went, "Oh my god, that's like horrifying." That wasn't in Man of Steel. Why couldn't you put that in?
Yeah. Although,
and then,
considering the time that we're recording this, it might be a little too soon to bring this up, but it's quite clear they use shots of New York City from Metropolis. And the World Trade Centers were featured so much, and that just brings back, like...
Yeah.
They couldn't have known. They couldn't have known.
Well, of course... Well, yeah, they didn't have a crystal ball. Of course they couldn't have known. I'm talking about just on Krypton, and I'm seeing all the.
Though, yeah.
I'm talking about the people that are falling into the cracks, into the unstable core. That's what shocked me when I saw when I saw that for the first time.
And it going along with that. Everyone's denying, like, oh, the planet's just shifting its orbit. You do realize how bad that is? The planet shifting its orbit is bad. I mean, Earth does it a tiny bit, but it does it every year. It just shifts a little closer to the sun, and then it moves back.
And we can't really feel it.
No, it's such a minuscule amount. It's close to negligible. But
okay.
The way they were framing it, it's like, oh, it's shifting closer. Okay, how much closer? You do realize that too much close and too sudden, you're dead. And going along with everyone's denying, like, what Kal-El claims are facts, and we just look at our political climate today.
Yep. And so, and then following, and of course following the time on Krypton, then we spend a little time with young Clark Kent. So we kind of see him. I enjoyed that too. So there's like a clear three act structure with this. So enough so that it's written so we spend time to get to know these people, or at least know what the hell's happening.
Yeah.
And before we get to why we're here, why we the audience are here to see this movie. And when Superman does appear, then we finally, we know him as a person.
Yeah, we know who he is, what he stands for, in the context of the movie, granted.
Mm-hmm. And then, now for all its praise, then we gotta get to one of the most,
Jor-El,
the infamous...
not Kal-El. I'm an idiot.
Jor-El. Oh, I knew what you meant.
Yeah.
I actually forgot what his name was. Alright, played by Marlon Brando. Yes, the Marlon Brando. Anyway, so what I was trying to get to was time travel. Reversing time at the end of the movie.
This is one of my biggest freaking gripes with this movie. Granted, I love this movie, don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But this...
Yeah, I mean, like I said, for all its praise, this is the one that that moviegoers and movie critics just point out as just being an absolute cop-out.
It most definitely is. It doesn't even work. It doesn't work.
A Deus Ex Machina, yes. It doesn't work, but 70s, it's the 70s. I'm sure that happened in one of the comics.
Sure, go ahead. Reverse the rotation of the planet. Oops, everyone's dead. Oh, reverse it again. Everyone's dead again.
Mm-hmm.
Reversing the rotation of the planet does not reverse time. You would have to reverse time across the entire freaking universe.
Mm-hmm.
Good luck with that.
Well, hey, if we can accept a can of pressurized air, compressed air, that when shot with a bullet will blow up a shark's head, then I think we can accept, reversing the Earth, just for a little bit of suspension of disbelief. That's all I ask.
No, Mythbusters tested that.
I know they did. But
at least,
it just takes off like a rocket.
Yeah, so the shark would just get ripped in half, or its head would get ripped off.
Mm-hmm.
But I can accept that, but I can't accept reversing the rotation of the planet.
Mm-hmm. But
as far as writing goes with that, like you said, that's a cop-out. If someone's dead, they stay dead. And then you show them, dealing with that. I mean, going to How to Train Your Dragon, Hiccup didn't reverse time to save his father. No, he dealt with that death.
Okay, that's kind of an unfair comparison because Hiccup is a human, not an alien from another planet who becomes superhuman because of Earth's yellow sun.
What's your point? It's writing.
My point.
Superpowers and such aside, it is crappy writing.
Yes, I'll agree with that. It is crappy writing. It's just it's a moment that just makes you go, what?
No. Time out. Then and the other thing, I'm going to quote a paraphrase from Big Bang Theory.
Okay.
When Superman / Clark saves Lois from the helicopter, As she's falling down, she's reaching terminal velocity. When he catches her, she would have been sliced into 3 equal pieces.
I remember that quote from that episode.
He should have let her hit the ground. It would have been a more merciful death. But gripes about science aside, and one section of crappy writing that I can pull out, it's overall a very good movie.
This is a very good movie because it takes time, because it focuses on, you know, on at least Clark trying to figure out who he is for the beginning part, and also it tells it linearly. No flashbacks or out of order memento style of editing whatsoever.
Cough, cough, Man of Steel.
Yeah. Okay, I might have to rewatch that again because I'm probably misremembering it very unfairly. Although there's one thing that I do have a gripe about with that movie, and that is so much shaky and zoom shots. I hate those.
Yeah.
But that'll be for another time.
Okay.
Honestly, I don't have much to go with. This is a very simple movie. The main plot doesn't really happen until Superman makes his official, and quote unquote official appearance in Metropolis. You know, with Lex Luthor and all that, and the 2 nuclear warheads, that thing. The rest is just pretty simple and basic.
It starts out just like your standard story.
And honestly, everyone did a good job acting in it, and also Richard Donner, who is the director of this movie, has kind of like established himself as, I guess, the first coming of Joss Whedon. He's like the 70s version of Joss Whedon, whereas Joss Whedon is kind of like the second coming of Richard Donner, just the superhero guru kind of thing. Because Richard Donner was still helping produce superhero movies. He helped with X-Men and all the other movies. He's kind of also the reason why Superman Returns exists, as much as we all like to pretend that doesn't. He was a great director. He actually was when he was actually filming the first movie and the second movie back to back. But the studio kind of booted him off before the second one was even done. Well, actually, it was almost done. It was mostly done. Then the studio booted him off, and then they put in a new director so that they could to film new scenes so that he could actually get director's credit. And so that's how we have like 2 versions of Superman 2, which, again, like Man of Steel, we'll get to another time. Honestly, we kind of had a feeling right at the beginning that this was going to be a pretty short one.
Yeah. I'm just looking over the actors in it.
Yeah, and you know what? We haven't even gone to IMDb. I haven't gone on to IMDb to list all the parts of the trivia. This is
Marlon Brando,
let's see.
Gene Hackman, Christopher Reeve. May he rest in peace. I believe he passed.
he passed away, like, I think almost a decade ago, and yeah, he everyone really always thought of him as Superman, and then when he got paralyzed, I mean everyone thought it was like a cruel joke. A cruel cosmic joke.
Yeah. Apparently he was picked from over 200 actors who auditioned for the role, so good on him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was an unknown at the time. Mm-hmm.
Ned Beatty.
Ned Beatty?
Yeah, Otis.
Oh, so that's who he was. Alright, Marlon Brando, whenever he refused to memorize his lines. So most of what he was saying, he had his lines hidden somewhere not because he's a bad actor, it's so that he could give an authentic performance, so that it actually sounds like he was saying it for the first time. Because that was part of his training. And he does give a very convincing performance. Of course, he has been doing this for years. Let's see.
Apparently, he sued the Saltlands and Warner Bros.
Brando?
Mm-hmm.
Over what?
For $50 million, because he felt cheated out of his share of the box office profit. This stopped Brando's footage from being used in Richard Lester's version of Superman 2.
Ah, okay. Yeah, I just got to that part of the trivia. Yeah. Because he felt cheated out of the film's considerable box office. Yeah.
It's always about the money.
Yes, it is. So now, even though this is a very great movie, there is, of course, like multiple versions of Superman 1. There's the theatrical one. Then there's the extended director's cut, which of course has a few extra scenes. Like, one is where when young Clark Kent is running, alongside that speeding train, and he's spotted by a little girl, and it turns out that little girl is young Lois Lane, and young Lois Lane, and riding with her parents, saying, "Oh, Lois, you always make up such wild stories."
Flash forward 12 years later.
Mm-hmm. And recently there was, or a couple years ago, there was Warner Brothers did release a TV version, and when I say TV, I don't mean like they had to cut some of the stuff out for time to fill a slot or any bad language. No, I mean there were scenes that were exclusively shown on television. Not in the director's cut or the extended version, just on TV, and I missed my opportunity to buy it. Well, when it was released, I'm pretty sure I could find it on Amazon, like everything else. Because I'm always interested in multiple versions of the same movie, because I like to compare them. Let's see. Find
Jackie Cooper as Perry White.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't do too much. He just not as good as J. Jonah Jameson.
Yeah, it's J.K. Simmons. Can you just imagine Perry White acting like J. Jonah Jameson?
No. Well, kind of, but it doesn't work.
Or like J.K. or just like his J.K. Simmons being Perry White, and play it like J. Jonah Jameson.
I prefer that, yes.
Okay, that's what I meant.
Against Superman.
Alright, let's see. So, apparently... Okay. Oh, here's a nice bit of trivia. In its initial run, the film topped the box office charts for 13 consecutive weeks.
Whoa.
13 weeks. That's over 3 months.
Not bad. Not bad at all.
Yeah. Wow. Huh. Oh, you want to know what the most expensive part of the movie to make was?
What?
It's not the flying scenes. It wasn't the visual effects. It was the opening credits.
Wow.
The opening... Well, I can kind of understand that. Let's see, all those weird trippy looking colors and the flying text. I mean, heck, that must have been expensive. That must have cost some money, you know, to pay the people to make that. Film it, layer it all up.
Yeah.
And cut it together. And this was supposed to be on actual film, on actual celluloids.
Oh, jeez. Someone get out the multiplane.
Let's see.
Trevor Howard, as the first elder, head of the Kryptonian Council, who does not believe Jor-El's claim that Krypton is doomed. Oh, this freaking quote just reminds me so much of our current disaster in chief.
Oh, jeez.
Any attempt by you to create a climate of fear and panic amongst the populace must be deemed by us an act of insurrection. I see so many freaking parallels.
Well, yeah, sometimes life imitates art, and art imitates life. Let's not forget about Terrence Howard as General Zod. The one who proclaims to Jor-El that you will bow down before me.
Did I miss him?
He doesn't. He only shows up in the beginning, so
yeah, I don't see him in this list of characters on
Wikipedia.
Yeah, I see large and mute. I see. Oh, there we go. Terrence Stamp as General Zod. Yeah.
Terrence Stamp. Oh, jeez, I said Terrence Howard. My mistake.
Hey, it's late.
Yeah, Terrence Stamp. Otherwise known as the butler from the Haunted Mansion. Although he was in better movies, like this one.
If briefly.
Don't worry, he's actually the main villain in Superman 2.
Ooh.
And let's see. Alright, so I actually do have Superman playing in the background because, well, I just like to keep my eyes busy. And it's actually coming up to the scene with the mugger in the alley of Metropolis in broad daylight. So hey, cliche, but not at the same time. And I just remembered how this scene was actually, I'm pretty sure, the inspiration for the alley scene in Wonder Woman, only just a gender reverse version of it.
I have yet to see Wonder Woman. I should watch that at some point.
It's good. I think it was the DC Universe's only good pre-Justice League movie. Because apparently things after Justice League, like Shazam and Aquaman, are pretty good, even though I haven't seen them. And I'm not really all that in a rush to see them. Reeve is really such a good actor. I mean, he's able to play both the roles of Clark Kent and Superman very well, so that they're actually indistinct, so that you can actually distinguish between them.
I found something going back to that deleted scene that was only available on certain editions. Kirk Allen and Noel Neill have cameo appearances as Lois Lane's father and mother in a deleted scene that was restored later in home media releases. Allen and Neill portrayed Superman and Lois Lane in the film serials Superman 1948 and Atom Man vs. Superman 1950, and were the first actors to portray the characters on screen in a live-action format. Neill reprised her role in the 1950s Adventures of Superman TV series. So that might be what you're talking about? Like,
yeah,
her father and
that
mother?
was the one. Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
So cool.
Yeah. Oopsies. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, Richard Donner, actually, the director himself, actually makes a cameo in this movie. Apparently, he is. Let's see. Cameo as the skeptical man who talks to Clark Kent in front of the televisions right after the first appearance of Superman. I love little in-jokes like that. You know, so it's sort of like how Stan Lee walks up to Peter Parker and says, "I guess one man can make a difference." Enough said.
Oh, we need to review Venom because Stan Lee had an awesome cameo in that one.
I'll put it on the list.
Along with every other freaking movie on that list.
Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Apparently, Gene Hackman was initially reluctant to take the part of Lex Luthor, as he felt it would have damaged his reputation as a serious actor. Oh boy. I do kind of remember that there were some roles that actors, or at least certain genres of movies that actors felt were kind of beneath them. In the 30s and 40s, it was horror. Like the actress who played Dracula's daughter didn't have a positive outlook when it comes to horror, but she still did her job. And I guess Gene Hackman is kind of a similar way, only when it comes to, like, this is a superhero movie. I've been in movies like The French Connection, or I don't know what came before Superman that he was in.
Margaret Kidder as Lois Lane. over 100 actresses were considered for the role.
Uh-huh.
She did a decent job, I guess. I mean, she's
Okay.
iconic now, so...
Uh-huh.
Decent.
Alright, so on Krypton, everything is like so very futuristic or very glowy. Even the robes that they wear. Now, what I found on IMDb is that apparently for this clothing, the wardrobe department spent weeks sewing tiny glass balls onto each actor's apparel. And apparently, if this material was accidentally touched, the oils from the hands would interfere with the lighting effect, leaving a dull patch on the costume. So you could not touch this thing. I think this was actually different from the material that was used to make the lightsabers light up in the original Star Wars movie.
You mean with the spinning mirrors and such?
Yeah, it's a similar concept, but apparently there probably wasn't enough money in the budget to actually just buy that material. Oh my god.
What?
Okay, so apparently Peter Boyle, Raymond's dad, who also played the monster in Young Frankenstein, he auditioned for the part of Otis. Oh my god. Let's see. Oh. Apparently Jack Nicholson even was considered for the role of Lex Luthor. Funny how 11 years later he plays Batman's most famous villain in Tim Burton's version of Batman. Wow. Huh? Apparently there was also another Superman film project in the 1990s that Nicholson was also considered for, but that was shelved. Never to be seen again. What'd you find?
People who auditioned for the title role.
Don't color me intrigued.
Patrick Wayne, son of John Wayne.
Ooh.
Yeah, he initially was cast for it, but he had to drop out because John Wayne was diagnosed with stomach cancer.
Aww. Family first.
Neil Diamond and
the singer?
Apparently. Arnold Schwarzenegger. They were lobbied hard for the role, but were ignored.
Oh my god, oh my god, can you think of... I can't even think of the one-liners that Schwarzenegger would have coined as Superman.
Oh my gosh, I want to... Someone remake this movie, but with Schwarzenegger, when he's not being governor of California.
No, you don't... They don't even really need to remake the movie with him. They could pretty much just superimpose his 1978 face onto Christopher Reeve.
Yes.
Make it deep fake. Oh my god! Let's see. I know of a.
Someone
do that. Oh, that'd be so freaking hilarious.
Hey, something wrong with the elevator?
Oh my god. Oh my god, he probably wouldn't even be the same thing. He'd probably goes, we should take the stairs.
Oh my gosh. Someone make a meme of this. Meme this. Alright, I'm gonna make a hashtag for it right now. Hashtag Super Schwarzenegger.
Super Schwarzenegger. I can't believe it. I think that's actually the best piece of trivia that I've seen from this movie. I didn't even know that.
Wikipedia, man.
Wikipedia.
It's a reputable source of information now.
Yeah. Yes, apparently. Let's see. Hold on. Well, let's keep the whole Superman Schwarzenegger connection gravy train rolling, because I found something else. All right, so Christopher Reeve attended a Special Olympics fundraiser held at Arnold Schwarzenegger's house for the film's premiere in 1978. Reeve was offered but turned down 2 roles that went to Schwarzenegger: The Running Man and Total Recall in 1990, which I think we were going to review at some point. We can let's oh my god.
We'll put that on the wall as well.
What on the wall?
Total Recall. We'll put that on the wall as well.
Oh yeah. I think we were planning on reviewing that at some point.
Yeah, along with everything else.
Yeah.
Let's see. Well, James Caan.
Oh yeah, James Caan,
James Brolin, Lyle Waggoner, Christopher Walken, Nick Nolte.
Oh wait, so Christopher Walken, what was he offered?
Superman.
Which role was he offered?
He was approached.
Oh my god, Christopher Walken. He goes, it's elevator not working. Should use more cowbell. Oh my god.
Nick Nolte. John Voight.
Mm-hmm.
Perry
Holy
King.
crap.
Chris Christopherson.
Chris Christopherson. Muhammad Ali.
What?
Muhammad Ali, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee, was also offered the role of was also considered for Superman. I don't even care. That would be freaking awesome.
Yes. Better than Charles Bronson, whoever that guy is.
You ever see Death Wish?
No.
Neither have I, but that's the movie he's in.
Okay.
Let's see, Jeff Bridges, John Voight, and Elton John?
Elton John
was considered for Clark. Okay, I can see him mastering the the Clark Kent persona, but Superman? I don't know. Let's see. Robert Redford, he was the main villain in Captain America: Winter Soldier. No, not ringing any bells.
Not really.
Okay. Well, let's see. Dustin Hoffman, Burt Reynolds, and Al Pacino, and Sam Elliott. These were great actors that apparently were at the height of their career. I can kind of understand Al Pacino. Wow, it's the 70s, man. Those were the high in demand actors. What happened? Oh wow.
Guess who Ilya wanted to direct?
Steven Spielberg?
Yes,
I think I breezed past that. I think that was near the beginning. Yes, Steven Spielberg was offered the chance to direct this film, but apparently the producers balked at the salary he asked for. Apparently he was asking too much. They decided to see how Jaws would do at the box office. Well, the movie was a success. I'll bet they're really kicking themselves.
But by then,
Spielberg already committed to Close Encounters of the Third Kind. So they missed out on him.
Yep. Oh well, that's not bad. Oh well, it's not bad. This movie is still not bad. I mean, even if they didn't get Steven Spielberg, this is still a good movie in its own right. Richard Donner did an absolute bang-up job.
He did
with Superman. And so now I'm just at the scene where, you know, Superman now makes his first official appearance in Metropolis. And even for 1975, the flying effects are pretty good.
Oh, I think they hold up fairly well today.
They do, and a lot of that is not only due to the visual effects, but also apparently Christopher Reeve is actually an experienced hang glider pilot. So he kind of knew how to make it look convincing that a man was flying without a pair of wings. And I just saw this. I saw the scene, you know, where camera's just following him, and you see the whole world just like spin around as he's kind of like doing like loop-de-loops and 360s, and oh my, the way he turns his body, or how he pivots and banks, is just so very convincing. I'm honestly very impressed. Woo! Yep, that's my first official woo of the review. Means this is very good. I noticed that I say woo a lot when I'm impressed.
This is weird.
What?
In early 1975, Brando signed on as Jor-El with a salary of $3.7 million and 11.75% of the box office gross profit, totaling $19 million. He horrified Sulkin by proposing in their first meeting that Jor-El appear as a green suitcase or a bagel with Brando's voice. But Donner used flattery to persuade the actor to portray Jor-El himself. Is bagel a term I don't know about? Is it not the food?
Did you say bagel?
Bagel.
I don't know.
He horrified Sulkin by proposing in their first meeting that Jor-El appear as a green suitcase or a bagel.
Oh my, no, that is not a term. That is, I think he's being literal. I mean, green suitcase, I don't think that's a phrase.
Okay, so he wanted Jor-El to appear as a green suitcase or a bagel.
I think maybe because he was probably in the same boat as Gene Hackman, that he thought this would ruin his reputation.
Well,
you know, as a serious actor.
Someone's silly.
It is silly by today's standards, because now
we have a whole genre about it.
We have a whole genre about it, but this was one of the earliest serious superhero movies. And so the only knowledge of superhero films that they have are the serials. And when it comes to Superman, the only other context are the Max Fleischmann cartoons.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, really serious actors didn't have a lot of trust, or they didn't have a lot of confidence in movies about you know, spandex wearing people with capes. Alright, anyway, there's actually, I found out that Carrie Fisher, who played Princess Leia in, you know, Star Wars, was also considered for the role of Lois Lane. Also, George Lucas turned down turned down the chance to direct in favor of Star Wars.
Probably for the best.
Yeah, but then again, George Lucas only had experience making one movie, and that was American Graffiti. And when making Star Wars, he had a lot of help.
Yeah, true. Reeve actually did much of the stuntman work himself.
Yeah. Okay, so apparently the reason why Richard Donner was booted off of production, when Superman 2 was nearly completed was apparently because the production budget kept on getting higher and higher. So the producers, there was a lot of tension between them as that kind of escalated. That's got to be what resulted in them pretty much firing Richard Donner so that they could bring in Richard Lester. Let's see, because here, as it says in IMDb, that Donner had tensions with the Salkins and Pierre Spangler concerning the escalating production budget and the shooting schedule, because that too was increasing. Creative consultant Tom Mankiewicz reflected Donner never got a budget or a schedule. He was constantly told he was way over schedule and budget. At one point he said, "Why don't you just schedule the film for the next 2 days and then I'll be 9 months over?" Richard Lester, who would go on to be the director for Superman 2, was then brought in as a temporary co-producer to mediate the relationship between Donner and the Salkins, who by now were refusing to talk to each other.
Oh boy.
With this relationship with Spangler, Donner remarked, "At one time, if I'd seen him, I would have killed him." Lester was offered producing credit, but refused going uncredited for his work. So yeah, even though this was a great movie, and a very financially successful movie, like a lot of these movies, there were problems in production, and this was mostly centered around the director and the producers. So we didn't really do much with this. We praised this movie as it should. This is it's a great movie. A sort of solid plot, but a very well established story. And so much so that apparently in 2017 this was selected for preservation in the Library of Congress National Film Registry as being culturally, historically, and aesthetically significant, and rightfully so.
Mm-hmm.
And even though it's made in the 70s, like you said, Ian, it still feels pretty timeless. Much like Jaws, and even the very first Spider-Man film, it can be viewed at any time period and still feel like it was in the present. So I give this 8 out of 10 stars.
And I have to say the same. Yeah, it's fairly solid, very good story. A couple things we can take note on that shouldn't be in there as far as writing and that goes, but overall very good, and again, timeless.
Mm-hmm.
And keeping in frame with my audience, yeah, Jurassic Park is also in that Congress Film Registry.
Yes.
Along with Disney's Cinderella.
As well as Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Well, that's obviously going to be in there.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, if you're thinking about watching a Superman movie, watch this one.
Yeah, I definitely recommend it over Man of Steel. You can now get a basic idea of both Superman and Clark Kent, as well as, you know, have that superhero, but also, see a superhero being treated very seriously, but also not be afraid to have a little fun.
Almost definitely.
So yeah, and with that we conclude Superhero Summer. And be sure to join us.
I know. We're sorry.
It was kind of busy for us, but hey, at least we completed this before fall.
I'm cutting it really freaking close.
Mm-hmm. Be sure to join us for October, where I don't think we'll be doing a month-long series review, because the only other options would be either Friday the 13th, Halloween, or Nightmare on Elm Street, and those are already more than 6.
Yeah. Hard to believe
we'll
we've
just
been doing this for a year, John.
Yeah. Almost a year. Over a year, yeah. We will do one movie. What that is, we don't know yet.
Yeah,
we'll have to talk about it.
Back to the Future, Venom, what else? Total Recall, Jaws.
Oh, but next month is October.
What's a scary movie we could do?
Well, I remember one of my fans who went by Astrid Hofferson. I think it was the fearless Astrid Hofferson. Suggested It Chapter 1.
I have qualms about that. I don't want to watch a scary clown movie. They scare me enough as is.
Oh.
But Battle at Big Rock? It's only 8 minutes long.
For October?
Yeah, why not? I mean, it would be a very short review.
It would.
Maybe we could do.
Yeah, it would be.
We could do 2 reviews. We'd just bang that one out in like 15 minutes.
Okay, yeah.
Well, okay, so we will review the live-action short of Battle at Big Rock, a Jurassic World live-action short, and something else.
Okay. Alright, so until then, see you next time, everyone.
See you guys.